Would you say that's what you're doing your best at this week?
What?
Is your pottery endeavors? Or something else?
No, bitch. Moving on. The good news is that the energy's fucking shifted, Case. I just want you to know. I don't know did you feel it? Not yet.
I didn't.
Okay.
But
all right, it's
maybe
coming.
I didn't notice it.
It's coming. Maybe you didn't need it as seismic a shift in change in energy as some of us did. I got a lot of people reaching out to me on the Instagram saying, yeah, crazy. Including our friend Jenna Fisher, who was like, it's the weirdest thing busy yesterday. I was like, it was the darkest I've ever been. And then I woke up this morning and I was like, everything's okay. And
wow.
I know. And that's the good news. The bad news is that apparently they are doing some sort of construction above me.
Well, is that bad news or is that just
par for the course?
It's just what it is.
It is what it is.
Guess where else we're doing construction?
In your house.
Right.
In your house.
Right to my right hand. And I have a little bit of a story about it.
What?
So here's what happened to me. We're trying to do this bathroom renovation on a budget. I just did a cameo for someone where I was like, here's what's going on with me. A bathroom renovation, I'm going to talk about it on the podcast. Has there ever been a worse tease for a podcast to one individual person that they paid for? So shout out to Stephanie, who asked for that cameo for me. She didn't specify the subject matter, so I talked about my bathroom renovation.
Well, let me just tell you something. Stephanie just got more than she bargained for with that cameo. I would say she got more than her money's worth. Because now you've shouted her out on the podcast.
Yes,
and
which is,
now I'm shouting her out.
Yeah.
So that's like, and I'm not even on Cameo right now. So it's like, listen, I'm just saying what she got is exactly right. Like she got what she paid for. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Maybe more than what she paid for. She got more than what she paid for.
We hope you're a satisfied customer, Stephanie, is what I'm saying. But I was promising her that I would talk about the bathroom reno on the podcast. And I know I always have like some long story. I'll try to make it quick. We're trying to do this bathroom renovation on a budget because we started off thinking we were just going to swap out the vanity for like a stock vanity that we bought at a big box store, even though we don't love big box stores all the time. Mm-hmm. But listen, like the vanity that was there, it wasn't working and it was haunted, frankly. It was haunted. So we're just going to pull out the vanity. That was it. Maybe change the flooring.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Then we discovered that not only were there like rotting holes in the flooring because the shower had been leaking for probably since the 1980s.
Sure.
Is what we were told by an expert that we then had to cut to. The whole thing's like a gut renovation because the toilet was also leaking through the floor. Sure. The shower was just fully like, they had just like tiled.
I just want everyone to know, as a person who has done multiple renovations in multiple cities on multiple houses, everything that starts out, this is going to be a small, quick, easy fix.
No.
That is it. First of all, literally doesn't exist. That's like,
right.
That's a lie. And if anyone comes into your home and says that to you, run, because they're not telling you the truth. What I always am looking for is a contractor who's like, look, it could be 2 weeks and $1,500. I don't know what we're going to find when we open up these walls.
Exactly.
It could be 4 months and $25,000. And
exactly.
I'm not right now. My goal will be to stay in the budget, but there are things that happen and I need you to, and we will go through it every step of the way. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
just, it's a bigger issue. Like
It's a bigger issue. Yes.
we don't need to always tell people what we think they want to hear.
Right.
So we need to tell people like the reality based on our experiences.
Yes, I agree.
Because I would have just told you ripping up a floor in a house as old as yours that hasn't been redone in a certain period of time. Like I would tell you, you might find that you have like cloth wiring as happened to me once.
Yes. Oh, like knob and tube wiring.
Yeah, like old school, like, and they're like, oh, this is a fire hazard. And also, like, you can't have this in your house. Like,
Oh, for sure. Well, this is our fourth home that we've owned, and we've renovated every single place. Might be the most challenging one, surprisingly, even though it's not the oldest. But so anyway, we got renovation of the bathroom, and we were like, you know what? It's not going to be a luxurious renovation. Like it's going to be a budget renovation, but let's take this opportunity at least to make it a little more usable. Because another thing is the people that owned the house before us, they were very short. And, so it didn't really bother them that the shower was like very closet-like and low ceiling. And we were like, you know what's great about this house? It has like vaulted ceilings. So let's bust up through the top of the shower and have a vaulted ceiling in this bathroom. And so then our 6'2" sons, who mainly use that shower, will not feel like they're huddling in a closet. Because even I've used that shower on occasion, and it was very claustrophobic. And there's no way to expand the size of it. So at least we're like expanding the height. So when we opened that up, it had it was perfect up there, perfect vaulted ceiling, ready to go, except for one random wire crossing it that we thought was like for the security system. But the guy tested it, the guy that we brought in to help us with like the wall board and stuff, the stuff that my husband isn't experienced doing. And he was like, no, that wire is live as fuck. And of course it was for our doorbell. Why is the doorbell wire going through the top of like the shower? I don't know. But anyway, we had electricians come. They fixed that. They rerouted it. They saved the doorbell. We weren't sure we were going to be able to save the doorbell, but they saved the doorbell. Here is where my story gets crazy.
Oh, Joy.
We had ordered all of the materials, again, from a big box store because that is where they are the most economical. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately. Mm-hmm. And also where I'm going to be honest, like where it's most definite, like when it's coming, like big box stores tend to, with some exceptions, alert you. You can sign up for texts when things are coming. Okay. The vanity came, the toilet came, the base of the shower pan came, the shower head came, the shower diverter came. Mm-hmm. The one thing that we were waiting for, which was going to take the longest, were the shower walls. We ordered like panels to surround the shower to keep it. Oh, the shower door came. But we ordered panels that we weren't going to put up tiles again. We wanted like a solid surface that was going to, be waterproof, easy to clean, easy to put up, not the fanciest. But that being said, still costs $1,200.
Yeah,
still,
I know what those are. Yeah,
yeah, still $1,200, and they're nicer than they were like in the '80s when I was a kid. When we put one up in our little ramshackle cabin that I lived in, but it was going to take the longest, and they were oversized, and so they're coming on a truck. Whatever. Okay, great. They were supposed to be delivered by July 26th at the latest. So we're sort of planning everything because certain things can't happen until you have certain things and et cetera, et cetera. My husband's doing a majority of the work, but we have people coming in to help out with some things that we're not qualified to do ourselves. Mm-hmm. So I'm keeping track of the tracking, and I see that they're delivered these panels to a shipping facility in Sun Valley, California on July 24th. And I was like, great, that is 3.7 miles from my home. They're going to get here no problem. Mm-hmm. Then I'm trying to track again, and it says out for delivery. and then that's it. But because they're oversized, the company's supposed to like call and arrange for like an appointment, like a time for me to be home so they can drop this off. Like that, everybody's had that. It's out for delivery, but I'm like, no one has called me to arrange a time.
Weird.
So I better call. And so I call, not able to get anyone. Call again, not able to get anyone. Finally get a customer service person who's like, oh, okay, yes, I see that it's out for delivery, but someone absolutely should have called you to arrange a time for them to be delivered. So let me give you someone's direct number. I'm also going to message that person. You should hear back ASAP. So that person calls, leaves a message, tells me they weren't able to get a hold of anyone, but I should hear back as soon as they get the message. I call, I leave a message, should hear back as soon as they get the message. I don't hear back. So I send an email and wait. I'm not like a Karen pressing like you need to help me, let me talk to your manager button. I'm waiting like a suitable amount of time.
Sure. I mean, I do it. I just interjecting for 2 seconds. I think in certain instances, i.e. like these particular instances, it does not make one a Karen to be persistent in trying to get information / figure out where the fuck the thing that you need and has purchased is, because it's like if your insistence is the thing that pushes you to the top of the importance line, right, and it's worth it, and you would obviously do it in like a very nice way.
Right.
I'm just saying there's no way you would be a Karen, is all I'm saying.
Which I was also trying to be really kind, because when this shit happens, the person answering the phone, it's not their fucking fault, you know?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think you can be like super persistent.
Yeah.
And like not annoying, but like consistently like calling back a lot.
Yeah. And I was trying to explain, like, I'm not waiting for like a rug delivery where like if it comes a week late, whatever, I'm trying to coordinate, you know, my schedule and the schedule of
a house.
People.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, don't get a response back. The weekend goes by. It becomes Monday. And I'm like, okay, I'm really going to get on this because, like, no joke, we need these panels now.
Yes.
So I call the number where I originally was able to speak to a person, because that seemed like the most effective thing at that point.
100%.
And I had also tracked it online because the voicemail kept encouraging me to track it online and that I'd be able to see up-to-date information about where my shower panels were. I waited on hold for 20 minutes. And I finally did speak to another person. I explained what was going on and that my package was 3.7 miles away at the shipping facility. It hadn't moved since the 24th of July, and it was supposed to be delivered on the 26th. And I was just wondering if we could schedule a delivery. And the person on the other end of the line that time said, "Oh, ma'am, this shipping company ceased operations yesterday. It closed down. Your items are in a warehouse and we don't know what is going to happen with them. And we will get back to you within the next several days to talk to you about the next steps and if you'll ever be able to get your package."
Excuse me?
Yeah. And then I looked up, it's like one of the biggest trucking companies in the United States shut down on Sunday.
What
company? It's called Yellow. And Summer, actually, I was talking to Summer, the person who does our merch, about it over the weekend because she's like really smart and knowledgeable about shipping. And she was like, "Oh, shoot, I was just reading an article about how Yellow shut down yesterday. And it was a big thing about, you know, they averted a Teamsters strike just recently. Remember how there was just news about like a shipping strike that was averted, and then just all this information going back and forth. I think like 30,000 people got laid off. I think that they're gonna file bankruptcy despite having received, I want to say, $700 million of PPP loans over the pandemic.
I literally can't. I fucking can't. I cannot. I'm sorry? I'm sorry? Who's coming to Sun Valley with me?
That's what Summer said. Summer was like, what's the guy's name? She found him on LinkedIn.
I'm serious.
The guy who...
I'm telling you, here's what I'm saying to you. I'm saying you've got your kids, Matt, and we're storming the Sun Valley warehouse and we're getting your shit. We write it down.
Well, here's the thing, is it really put it in perspective because I was feeling super bad about not getting my shower panels because I really want my kids to get their shower back. As you can imagine, sharing a shower with 2 extra adults isn't my vibes at this point in my life. But then I was like, well, fuck, at least I didn't get laid off. At least my company didn't go out of business. So anyway, here's the thing. The big box store, which the lady on the phone at the big box store was great. She acted like this was wild that she was just hearing about this, but this was the number 1 shipper for the big box store. So I have to imagine I was the 1,000th call that she was receiving that day about something that was stuck in a warehouse. She instantly canceled my order and refunded my $1,200. So that's great. So whatever happens with those panels, Godspeed. The main thing is I had to reorder these fucking panels. So it's going to take another month or something for them to get here. And I'm just like,
can I ask you a question? Is there another way to do it instead of the panels? Can we just, and I know, guys, sorry. I mean, listen, whatever. You're in it this deep. Can we just tile it?
I don't want to tile it because that's what was so bad about it last time. Like that's why it leaked everywhere.
No, but if you get a person who waterproofs it first, if you get like a good tile.
Yeah.
And there's so many. Here's what I will say, guys. And these are my experiences. New York renovations, Los Angeles renovations, and no shade to New York, except all shade to New York. There are such incredible crafts people in Los Angeles who
I know
really good at that specific thing.
It's true.
And I feel like you could go to Mission Tile and you could probably just cut this out of the podcast. I don't know if this is interesting, but you could go to Mission Tile in Pasadena and they back, what's it called? Like backstock or like, what did we get for the one bathroom we redid? We got the tile that like somebody had purchased and then they returned it and they didn't, like they didn't want it or whatever that is.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And they have like, you go to their like big place in Pasadena, they'll show you all the stuff that they have.
I know. I do.
Like,
I mean, listen, I've tiled.
It's not as expensive as those panels and it looks better. TBH.
I know. It does. You're 100% right. My thinking was I don't want it to leak. So I want like more solid protection against leakage just in case. Also, guys, I love my sons. One of them loves to clean. One of them does not. And I just was thinking like guys and grout. They're not the best pair, always. And so that was my thinking. But yeah, we may do that. But anyway,
I'm just saying it could be like done very quickly if you do it.
Yeah.
If you just change the plan.
Here's what shocks me is how many things I'm sure I talked about this. One time we ordered like era appropriate light fixtures for my house. And we were able to snag them on an amazing deal because they were like factory seconds. They were like, I think they're made for TV and movies, like they're period pieces. So they're like remakes or whatever. But they painted them and they didn't come out the exact color that the people wanted, but we liked the color. We thought it was kind of cool. And so I ordered them and I was just about to like ship them. And the shipping was going to cost as much as like the half off light fixtures. And then I looked just out of curiosity and the place was like 2 miles from my house. And I was like, can I just go pick them up? That is what the overarching takeaway for me here is how many things are within like 10 miles of where we live right now. It's shocking. So yeah, somewhere in Sun Valley are those panels. I don't know what's going to happen with them. They might be coming to like a home center clearance store near you once they liquidate whatever is in that warehouse. But shout out to all the fucking truckers that are out of work now because of like shit that was beyond your control. That really sucks. I feel like we're just getting over supply chain issue problems, and
I don't
like
understand
now
why they went under. I'm unclear about whatever.
I mean, well, according to the Teamsters, they mismanaged their money terribly. And according to the company, the threat of a strike caused them to lose so much business that their financial woes were insurmountable.
I don't know about that.
So,
I don't buy that.
I don't know.
I don't buy that. People threat of a looming strike. People didn't stop buying shit. You know what I mean?
Right. Here's the hopeful thing is that like I have truckers in my family. I'm sure a lot of people do. My cousins have been in the trucking and shipping business. Since we were kids. Like it's what they did right out of school. A couple of them. And here's what I know is that you're exactly right. People haven't stopped buying things. Things will never stop being shipped. So I'm hopeful for everybody that found themselves suddenly out of work on a Sunday afternoon, that there'll be a job for you somewhere, and a better job at a good place that takes care of you and doesn't surprise go out of business on a Sunday. And we'll be fine. The shower,
it's all gonna work.
Yeah, the kids also just got a membership to a gym nearby, so maybe they'll shower there sometimes.
Listen, that sounds great.
Oh my gosh, but that's what I've been up to. And today is my husband Matt's birthday.
Today?
And yes. And I've done a really poor job of celebrating his birthday, which we can talk about later. But I just want to say happy birthday to him.
Happy birthday, Matt. But also, it's not like a big birthday, like a specialty one.
No, I know. You know what I feel bad about is that like I expected him to fully work on his birthday because that's how he is. He just never takes days off for anything. And he actually took the day off and I didn't know, and I scheduled other things. So
like
I feel
podcast.
Like this podcast, and so I feel a little bad about that, but he's being a champ. I made him breakfast and he acted like it was delicious, even though I know it wasn't perfect.
Why do you think it wasn't perfect?
Because he likes like sunny side up eggs, and those are like a really hard thing for me to accomplish for whatever reason. I'm not great at it. And so there was that, and I'm sure we'll do something. Well, we won't because podcast day is an all day thing, but tomorrow we're going to go to lunch tomorrow.
Caissie, I'm just going to say this, and I just want you to just hear it if you can.
Yeah.
We've said so many fucking times, we do this podcast ourselves and blah, 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 blah. And for this reason, why don't you just ask if Josh can edit tomorrow? We finish recording this. We tell people sorry, it was your husband's birthday. You didn't realize he took.
I know.
No, Caissie, I'm serious. It seems like, no, I'm serious. If we subscribe to the belief that we do this a certain way because of the thing, which is that our lives are more important.
We can do it.
We can do what we need to do. We were supposed to have a thing yesterday. I couldn't, an interview yesterday with someone. I couldn't do it because of family stuff. It's a very stressful moment in my household.
I know.
And I was like, you know what? I for a second, I did feel badly about putting it off and rescheduling at a later date. But then another part of me was this is also why we do it this way. And one of the things and the freedom of doing this podcast in this way. So I'm just saying to you, I'm just offering to you, not that you fucking asked, but I'm just saying to you, to me, everyone who loves us and this podcast would be totally fine with it coming out on Thursday so that when we're done recording this talking bit, you can have the rest of your day with your husband for his birthday on the day that he took off for his birthday, which you didn't realize he was doing.
I know. That's really, it's 100% right. You're 100% correct, but it's fine. I made a reservation for tomorrow. We're going to a place he wants to go tomorrow.
Where are you
going? To Tower Bar.
Oh, I like Tower Bar.
when that's in what's the history of that place where you know it best because of like your time in LA? What's
Sunset
the
Tower Hotel?
Yeah, Sunset Tower Hotel. It was the St. James Club before. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. And then it was like taken over in the early mid 2000s by, I can't remember what like the restaurant group is or the management people that came in, and they like redid it and restored it to its previous glory. And then there was like this very famous maitre d' that was there for a really long time, who now is at the San Vicente Bungalow Club.
Right.
He's like, it's such a vibe, that guy.
I've met that guy.
Everyone.
What's his name?
It was just in my head, and I was about.
Is it a Greek name?
It's Greek. Yeah, he is Greek.
Oh my gosh. I don't know.
I'm just gonna look it up.
I'm blanking on it.
Me too. In my head, and I was about to say it, and then you asked.
Anyway, when my husband used to work in television a long time ago, when he first had like trips out to LA, he always stayed at the St. James Club Hotel. So, but he's never been to the restaurant since the restoration.
So he hot fudge sundae there.
Yeah, that's what everybody says. Don't miss the hot fudge sundae. My favorite thing about that place is one time I went there with Andy Cohen and some colleagues at Watch What Happens Live, and Kristen Wiig joined our table, which was super fun for me because I love her. I don't know her super well, but I've met her a couple times and she's always delightful. And then my other favorite thing is
Dimitri.
Dimitri, yes.
It didn't even come up. I just remembered it. I just
remembered it. Yeah. Dimitri, yes.
My phone was being weird.
Now he's at the San Vicente Bungalows. Yes. Okay. My other favorite thing about the Sunset Tower restaurant is that the hostess that night that I was there, the Kristen Wiig night, I told her that I liked her shoes. She had very fancy, I believe they were Gucci loafers, but they were like high heel loafer. Is that a thing that exists? I guess they were like moccasin, like mock shoes.
No, but that's not right. That's not how you describe them. But I'm going to send you a picture of the shoes that they are because I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes, they're like Gucci pumps with like a snaffle and like
pumps. They're like, I know exactly.
Like block heel shoes. Anyway, what I loved is that I said that I liked them so much, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, do you want to know my secret?" And then she pulled back the curtain on her little hostess station, and she had another pair with lower heels that she put on later in the night when her feet got tired. And I was like, "Damn, the tips must be good here at Sunset Tower."
Well, I got a pair of mine on, what's it called? Like the Real or something like that, or Poshmark.
Oh, 100%. Also, I'm sure that someone from Gucci probably regularly dines there and maybe gave her a discount or gifted them to her.
Well, that's entirely possible. They're like these. Wait, no, not these. Cancel. Not.
Gucci is very generous with their gifts to people that are like influencers and stuff like that. I've noticed. I always see people who are like becoming influencers or like going to Gucci and getting like decked out for something, and it's good content.
Like
I'm gonna say,
but not exactly.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, that's cool. I've never had that experience, but you know, actually, that's not true. When I did that Chime for Change, they have like a nonprofit type thing that they do, and I did that. It was called Chime for Change. That's their, I don't know, whatever that is. That's like their nonprofit thing. They gave me a suit, guys. They gave me a suit once.
Oh my gosh. All right. What's going?
So nice.
Yeah. They're Gucci's not afraid to give away a suit to someone that's going to wear it.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
I do want to say it was like an oversized man suit. And I like,
Oh, nice.
I love it. Maybe I should break that the fuck out this fall.
Do you still have it? I was going to say you should be wearing it.
I mean, it's 1,000,000 degrees, babe. I don't know what I'm not wearing.
No, but I mean, like, you've had it for years. You should be wearing it.
I just got it.
Oh, all right.
I just got it like a year-ish ago or something.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, anyway, I look forward to seeing the suit this fall.
Oh, the suit's happening.
And like maybe even break it up where it is separates as well.
I really do want to get into that vest life. I've
been noticing people have been wearing vests.
I'm feeling for fall, I'm feeling overalls and I'm feeling vests, guys. I'm feeling those two things.
Interesting. Overalls and huge tits don't go together so much, in my opinion, but maybe I'll find some type of strapped pants that work for me. I don't know. Just because you have huge boobs doesn't mean you can't get some pants with like suspenders or whatever. Maybe more suspenders.
Nope. I'm going to say no.
Busy, if I got some rainbow Mork suspenders and put them on my jeans, you're telling me you wouldn't love it?
I would love it. That's true.
It just has to be appropriate for the situation. But you know, when I was little, I did have like a full Mork cosplay outfit that it wasn't for Halloween. It was just for like school.
Cosplay before cosplay was cosplay.
Yeah. It was like, I didn't have Mork's shirt because that would have been really hard to find that like baseball shirt. Like it had different colored sleeves. Like it was like color blocked, but I did have khaki pants, rainbow suspenders with buttons on them, because he put like buttons, like pins. And then I had a Mork and Mindy t-shirt. That was like my best outfit.
It's a great outfit.
I thought I looked so fucking cool. Yeah. I'm sure I looked insane.
I don't think so.
And then
no, I don't think
also,
so.
Did you ever belong to Pioneer Girls? Were you in a Girl Scout or Brownie? Pioneer.
What are you fucking talking about?
Were?
Are you out of your mind? My mother worked for the Girl Scouts. Is there anyone more of a fucking troop leader than Barbara Phillips? Come on.
Oh my God. You know what? Okay, point well taken. I forgot that you were a Girl Scout or Brownie. I was a Pioneer Girl, which was like the religious version of Girl Scouts.
Yeah, not for me, but yes.
And we made s'mores in one meeting and like chocolate dripped on my Mork and Mindy t-shirt on the decal and it like took off like half of Mindy's face. And I was devastated because...
What was in that chocolate?
I don't know. It's like molten... Why were you feeding molten chocolate, face-melting chocolate to children? I guess that's just when you have faith in God, you have faith that kids aren't going to fucking burn their tongues out with your stupid s'mores.
You know what I was just talking about the other day with my friend Kate when I went to visit her in New Jersey we were talking about how big like spin art and puffy paint was when we were in elementary school. And
yes.
I had a memory that it was so big. There was a spin art place in the mall near the grocery store, like the strip mall, not like a mall. In the strip mall near the grocery store, there was a spin art place that you could do like t-shirts and people would have their birthday parties there and like whatever and sweatshirts and things. And I had this total memory that I like a thing I haven't thought about for 1,000,000 years, that one year for my Brownie troop to be fun. My mom took our Brownie troop to the spin art place and made that our uniform for the year. So that like on days where we had our troop meetings, you're supposed to wear your uniform to school. And we were like firmly ensconced in the late 80s. And we were like not into wearing our little brown outfits.
Right.
And my mom was like, spin art t-shirts are the Brownie outfit or the Girl Scout uniform this year. You just have to wear your sash, guys.
Oh my God.
Which like, honestly, good for Barbara Phillips for rolling with the times. You know what I mean?
Maybe Barbara Phillips needs to organize our future camp.
Oh God, Jesus. Don't give her a project. You know what's so cute? I was talking to her. My parents are in Hawaii.
Oh, nice.
My parents are in Hawaii and I was talking with her and I had just this thing had just popped up on my Instagram. The guy that started the like surrogate stand-in parents for LGBTQIA youth whose parents have like either sort of just, disowned them or isn't speaking to them or,
Aren't
whatever.
stepping up. Yeah, I'm a member of that group.
Same. Okay. So my mom was like, I was telling her about it and I was like, I think you should do that. My mom goes, Busy, it's so interesting. I signed up for it. No one's ever reached out. And I was like, okay. She's like, well, you know what? That's something I should look into. I should look into getting active there. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I think you have to kind of volunteer or whatever. But I did see that somebody was having a wedding and they were looking for like parental figures. And it really made me feel good because it was like within driving distance from here. And I thought that I would be free. So I, of course, volunteered, but I was so happy to see so many people were volunteering and being like, they were kind of like auditioning. Like people were saying like, here's what's good about me as a stand-in parent. And I thought that was so great.
I think that's very sweet. My mom's been a stand-in parent before. For walking someone down the aisle.
Aw.
Bass. I love bass. I don't know who she is, but honey, she looks chic while she's going through the airports with her bass luggage, going to Ibiza.
She loves bass. We love bass.
Oh my God, you guys, even if you're not going to Ibiza, even if you're just traveling to South Carolina with
Cleveland
with your family, I cannot tell you how many times I have Googled chic airport fits. Listen, I feel this strongly about most of our sponsors. I'm not going to lie, but like if you're going to get new luggage, and you should, because you should treat yourself. Base is the only thing I think you should get because they've thought of everything. It was created by an actress, Shay Mitchell. She clearly was like, has been traveling so much as an actor for work that she was like me, Googling chic airport fits and was like, I don't see anything that has the functionality of what I need it to do that looks super cute and ages well, that's well made and affordable.
I'm probably not super worried how chic I look in the airport.
You always look cute. I'm not kidding. You're a person, so especially when you're in public, you like to look cute.
That's so nice. Well, you know what I don't like to look like? I don't like to look like someone whose rolly bag is tipping over, whose carry-on bag is falling off my shoulder, falling into the way of rushing passengers. Yep. And so I don't need any of that. And guess who isn't giving me any of that? Shay Mitchell and base bags.
Washable bags for your dirty clothes. Built-in weight indicator. Do you understand the game changer of that? For a lady like me. Cushioned handles, 360-degree gliding wheels, all the interior pockets of your dreams, multiple sizes and colors. And I've talked about this Weekender bag since the beginning of our relationship with them because that was the first piece of base that I got.
Yes.
I don't know, guys. I just love this luggage so much and I just highly recommend it. Highly recommend it.
And we're going to help you buy it because
right now Base is offering our listeners 15% off your first purchase by visiting basetravel.com/best. Go to basetravel.com/best for 15% off your first purchase. That's basetravel.com, BEIS travel.com/best. I'm telling you guys, get into the base. I just love the base. Okay, here's what I'm going to say. I have a friend who just got a new house.
Yes.
And as we're packing, I'm helping pack and like looking through the pots and pans. I'm like, oh boy. Okay. All right. Listen, my lady friend. We got to get you out of this chemical nightmare that you're currently in because She hadn't heard about Green Pan yet.
I have good news for her because this podcast is sponsored by Green Pan.
And you guys have heard us talk about Green Pan.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than like having food stick to your cookware, right? Of course. Which is why like nonstick cookware became the standard. Everybody was like, when it came out, people were like, oh my God, it's revelatory. But then people were like, oh my God, it contains plastic that's toxic and will never leave your system.
Oh.
So Green Pan revolutionized home cooking way back in 2007 when they introduced the world to ceramic nonstick cookware, which is the best, the first toxin-free alternative to those nonstick cookwares with coatings. That means the pans are free of PFASs, PFOAs, lead and cadmium. All you need to know is that literally, like I'm going through my friend's cookware and I'm like, these are coated with what's called forever chemicals. But Green Pan, no. And also my other point to this is that I was like, this is my gift to you for your housewarming.
Oh, it's such a good gift. And it's reasonable.
And also it's so cute.
Yes.
Because Green Pan does really cute colors, like fun colors. We have like yellow tile and we went with the really cute blue Green Pan. And we have some of the like pan racks in the kitchen because like for space saving, etc. But also just because I was so excited about how cute the Green Pans look. They're on display all the time because they look great and they've aged really well because I cook all the time in them. Made scrambled eggs this morning for Cricket in them. And you know what's great about a nonstick scrambled egg? Nothing's wasted. It's like, and I'm not scraping a pan, and cleaning was very easy, especially because we didn't even get into this on the podcast, but my dishwasher is broken, guys. So I'm just saying
Green Pan is like a lifesaver in more than one way.
Plus, they have a 60-day return policy. So you've got plenty of time to make sure Green Pan is right for you. So guys, toss those plastic pans and upgrade your cookware with Green Pan. Head to greenpan.us and use our promo code BEST. And you're going to receive 30% off your entire order plus free shipping on orders over $99. That's right, 30% off. So head to greenpan.us and make sure that you use our promo code BEST so that they know we sent you and we get credit. 30% off your entire order when you use our code BEST. Guys,
that's huge.
Huge. We love you and we love Green Pan. Speaking of things that like you remember, you don't remember, whatever. The other night, so I was here by myself because I came back to do a commercial job. It's not like a commercial that'll air on television. It's like a internet for a campaign for Hunger Action Month, which is September. So it'll be out in a few weeks anyway. But I needed to, but I had like a full day of work and everyone was in South Carolina. So Birdie was going to come back with me, but then was having just like such a good time and decided that she wanted to stay, which I was honestly thought was great.
Yeah, that's great.
It also would have been super fucking boring for her with me having to work and like just not, I'm sure she would not have been a fan. Anyway, so I came back. I loved the people that I worked with. They were so great. It was mostly women, of course. And then I went and I saw the play Kimberly Akimbo musical. Kimberly Akimbo, which was fun. And then I was just trying to like organize stuff, get stuff ready, like figure out what I need to do for the impending trip to Sweden for boarding school.
Right.
And then Mark and the kids got back. and then I went and I saw, my friend Kate.
Yeah.
But I was like I've been having like it's been rough. Like I've been having like a moment of like, I think a lot of people have, but also just like kind of like like I couldn't stop crying. And I went and did pottery with Alex Edelman on Friday during the day.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I saw you made a plate.
No, that was yesterday at my other.
Oh, okay.
I'm just talking about last week. I'm filling you in on the rest of my week.
Okay.
And just even just like hanging out with friends and stuff, and like I felt like on the verge of tears like the whole time. I'm not PMSing. I'm like hormonally not in a place where that's the vibe. I like to be aware of those things because I think it's good to, if you are and you're like feel that way, you can point to your hormones and be like, oh, okay, I give myself grace for this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also just like the news last week with global warming and the fucking aliens, and then like everything, just like hate crimes and not, I don't know. It was dark. Like I was just not feeling good about anything. And, and then I went to New Jersey to see Kate, and I picked up Hillstone veggie burgers and spinach artichoke dip.
Yes.
Houston's. I don't know what the Hillstone is called in your town. And they were so sweet and like packed it up really nicely for me because I'm like, I'm literally going to be traveling for like an hour with this food. So you got to hook it up for me. We had a cooler bag. It was so hot too. It was like so oppressively hot in the city.
Yes.
Mike drove out to New Jersey, and we were like, we really had such a nice day and night together. And like, then this huge storm came, and like, it was crazy, like out of nowhere. It was just like storming like crazy. And as soon as it was over, we walked to this little park. We walked her dog to this little park by her house, which was like it was like good that we were able to do that.
Yeah.
That she was able to do that. And like, I don't even know what to tell you. All of a sudden we were walking back, and I was like, oh my God. All of a sudden, like it felt like things were different, like shifting.
Yeah.
Now, part of me thinks that there was like a pressure system that literally lifted, like because of the weather did change, you know, after the storm through. But it's like, it was like this, it really genuinely felt like all of a sudden. Also, to be honest, like I had been the last few weeks, like really grieving things, like ideas of things that didn't exist, that didn't end up happening. And that is like the trickiest thing to grieve.
Right.
Because it's always idealized, right? And so you don't get the like, and then you don't get the reality. It's never accurate, but you're just,
you can't be,
you're
you had this, you had this vision.
Correct. And like, even when we were in South Carolina, like I've just been having, it's just felt so dark and sad and weird and hard. And I felt this weird shift. There was such a beautiful sunset. I was like, dude, something is different. Like all of a sudden, you know?
Yeah.
But also I was like, I'm not going to hold on too tight to that idea. But so I came back to the city, And then I woke up the next day and I was like, the fuck? I feel totally different. And specific to like the things that I felt like in the last, I mean, I can't even tell you how long, so long, but had been really like back in the forefront of my brain in the last several weeks, month maybe. I felt like totally at peace and like I had forgiven people I needed to forgive. I felt okay. And I felt like and I haven't felt that way like yet. This is the first time I've like genuinely felt like, and this is specific to like my own interpersonal relationship bullshit that I don't really want to talk about like in super detail. Do you know what I mean? But
of course.
But I've just been really struggling for years now. And it felt like I finally was like done. Like not done, but like just okay, just at peace with it and like forgiven and it's okay. Like everything is good.
Yeah. That's amazing.
No, it felt fucking crazy. It feels crazy, but like great. So I kind of want to tell this one story, but I don't know. I have to ask Kate if I can, but it was making me laugh so fucking hard. But maybe I'll tell it another time.
Okay. All right.
Because of course, I want to tell you, but I just feel like I have to ask her before I talk.
Of course, we're always respecting people's wishes above all on this podcast.
Which brings me to another thing I want to talk about. But there's two things. Well, okay, because I was going to tell you this one story about when Mark and I went out to dinner the other night to like go over what we need to accomplish in the next like 10 days and / figure out like our plans, like how it's all going to go, like to the best of our abilities in this moment.
A logistical meeting.
We were having like dinner because we wanted to eat. And also on top of that, we needed to have a logistical co-parenting meeting to break it all down. And we were waiting for a table at this restaurant we love here in New York. And we saw the girl, like we knew the girls that were getting up from the table. It was outside. It was so beautiful out. This is when they all, they had come back from South Carolina, obviously. And the girls got up and they were walking away. And this girl was like, this is going to sound so weird. I was like, oh boy, here we go. Yes. She's like, you babysat for me when I was really little. And I was like, what? That's crazy. Now, guys, your girl was a hustler, always has been. I was I don't know who. I was Babysitters Club vibes, passing out that number anywhere I could. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, because you worked with my dad at California Pizza Kitchen. And I was like, wait, what? Now, here's the fucking craziest part is that the day before I had been in New Jersey, we were eating that Houston's veggie burger, reminiscing about Houston's for us is very evocative of our childhood and teen years and even college years. It was like the restaurant that everybody went to celebrate something with their families. So like every
fancy.
It was so fancy. Every birthday, every like parents' anniversary, like every, like we would go to Houston's. Kate obviously we grew up together. Like she also had that. And her husband, Larry, also had that, like loved Houston's. So we had been talking about Houston's and then Kate was like, oh my God, busy. Her husband's a little like older than us, like
Yeah.
by a chunk. No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't need to blow up his spot, but like he's like quite a bit older than us. And
Okay.
and Kate was like, "Oh my God, Billy, did we ever talk about that when you and I were hostesses at California Pizza Kitchen, Larry used to come in with his first wife and their little kids?" And I was like, oh my fucking God, how hilarious is that? So we were
my
like
God.
16, 17, 18. Kate was 18. We worked at California Pizza Kitchen our junior, senior years of high school together. Kate got me the job. And anyway, so the day before when I was at Kate's house, we were like laughing hysterically, like reminiscing about CPK, about their spinach artichoke dip, and like telling stories about us working there, and me saying like, I'm sure when I sat Larry and his ex-wife and their kids, I'll babysit. Like, I'm sure I tried to pitch myself to you guys because apparently
Right.
like went in a lot, like he's like, it was like one of my favorite restaurants and it was close to where we were living at the time. And I was like, I'm sure I thought you were a hot dad and like, all this stuff. But anyway, so funny. And we were trying to remember the managers' names, like the people that we worked with, right? And so we remembered one of them, and then we like could not remember this other manager. And we were talking about him. This girl was that's his daughter.
Oh, that's so wild.
West Village. Yes. But then I got so mad at Mark about this but he was like, I don't know, he like didn't get it. And I feel like, I don't know. Maybe we all were having a misunderstanding. But anyway, she was so nice, this girl. She was like, yeah, it's kind of like my claim to fame, like that you babysat for me. And then I sort of vaguely remembered it, like that he asked me if I could because they had an issue, a babysitter fell out or whatever. And then she was like, yeah, I mean, like the one thing I remember is that you told me this like horrible story that like scarred me for life about a dog being murdered. And I was like, what? Okay, first of all, that does not sound like me at all.
It doesn't sound like you, but I don't know.
Who knows? Listen, guys, I was doing a lot of drugs in high school. Not when I babysat, but I'm just saying like
residual,
yeah. But then I was like, whoa, I was like, wait, what? Like she said she was like, you told me this like horror, like this scarred me for life, this horror story about like a dog being murdered. And I was like, she's like, yeah. And I was like 6, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay, that really doesn't sound like me. I was like an amazing babysitter and I've always loved kids. And on top of it, I'm like, I hate horror stories, and hate, like anything where an animal dies.
Right.
Like I couldn't even, like I hated Single White Female, which everyone in my high school or middle school like was obsessed with that movie. When did that come out? Whenever it came out, everyone in my school was like obsessed with that movie. Remember that movie?
I don't remember it really. Yeah, I do remember that it exists, but I don't remember the plot.
And the other girl, she like, it's like a girl in Manhattan. She moves, she has a new roommate. They see
who takes over
her like
personality.
Yeah. She's Single White Females her.
Yeah.
Anyway, she kills the dog and the crazy girl like kills the dog in the movie.
Spoiler alert.
Guys, you're not watching it.
But if you haven't watched.
I like, when that happened, I was like, I fucking hate this movie. And I shut it off. But so anyway, so we're like standing there, like kind of chatting, like catching, like talking a little bit. And I was like, how wild it was. And then she says a thing. I was like, that's so weird. I'm like, that does not sound like me at all. Like, I don't know what it would be like, why would I even say that to a little kid? And she's like, well, I mean, also I was a little kid. And I was like, right. I wonder if like, and then I was just like trying to like spitball. I'm like, I wonder if like you did something dangerous and I was like trying to like tell you, like a, what are those stories called? Like to warn you, like a
cautionary tale.
Cautionary tale. And I was like trying to tell you like some cautionary tale about like, don't play in the driveway because a dog got run over. Or I don't know. Like, I'm just trying to,
right.
Whatever. And Mark's like, whatever, busy. It totally sounds like something you would do. And I was like, first of all, fuck you. Like, absolutely not. No. What are you talking about? And like, his point was that I sometimes say, is that I overshare, is that I'm an oversharer, right?
Okay.
Maybe at age 16 or 17 or whatever, I like wasn't aware developmentally that like a 6-year-old couldn't handle a story about a dog getting killed.
Okay.
Just like said it. Like it still doesn't sound like me, but also I was so mad that he said that. But then I've gotten over it. But isn't that weird?
That's so weird. Also, just throwing out the plausible explanation that when you're 6 years old or when you're 16 or when you're 26 or 36, sometimes you just conflate information.
That's also what I said. I was like, also, you're a terrible witness to this history. Because
you were so little. It could have been.
And like her parents were like getting divorced at the time. And like
100% could have been another babysitter.
I know. I was like, I'm definitely probably the only babysitter that ended up famous. So maybe she's just like ascribed
her most memorable babysitter memory
to me,
to you,
which is a bummer because it doesn't sound great.
Yeah.
I also like, I was a nanny first. I don't think I was like, I don't know. It just doesn't sound like me, guys.
I just figured out that I just had this happen to me this week, something that I thought was true for years. And it's not that big of a deal. I was just thinking about it because Pee Wee Herman passed away, R.I.P. And I had, he was
Reubens,
so,
the best.
Paul Reubens, the best. He meant so much to me as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I snuck and saw his HBO special at my grandmother's house, which was not appropriate for kids. And I just loved it. I was hooked. I loved Pee-wee. I loved Paul Reubens. And he's one of those people that I always kind of hoped that I would get to work with. Pee-wee's Playhouse is where I fell in love with the art of Wayne White. He's one of my favorite artists.
Wait. Hold on. Just sidebar through Paul Reubens passing. And again, just going to, I couldn't even, can I tell you, I was so fucking sad yesterday that I couldn't even write.
I couldn't handle it.
I just wrote, like, I literally just posted a picture of him, like a more recent picture of him because I like met him sort of later in life through, well, Courtney Cox and David Arquette were really close with him. Right. Yes. And our good friend, Josh Myers did his live stage show of Pee-wee.
I saw it. Yeah.
And so I met Paul through that. And like, so I met him like later in life. I loved him as a kid and I loved him as Pee-wee and no one made me laugh fucking harder ever, ever, ever.
Exactly.
I've never missed an episode. And, but like, I loved that picture of him where he's just like a little, like where he is older because he was such an incredible, sweet, loving human who really thought about other people. And talk about like with Sinead O'Connor too, like talk about revisionist history of like a person who was like maligned for a thing and like had an incident sort of like colored their like life for a chunk of time.
Right.
Because of a really insane, like a incident, you know, like.
Yeah. Like something that if it happened now.
It was not even like an issue, by the way.
It wouldn't have unfolded. Yeah.
Same way. But I just love him so much. And I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I loved him so much. He meant so much to me. So many people were just talking about how he influenced their comedy careers. There's no denying that. Pee-wee's Playhouse was a huge influence on Busy Tonight, on us. It was like...
I feel like we've talked about it before.
We have talked about it. Yes, we have talked about it. That our goal was to be Mr. Rogers for grown-ups meets Pee-wee's Playhouse, like helmed by Laverne and Shirley. You know, like that was our whole log line for that show. And I think we did it, and I think we would have done more. And I'm just so happy that he was part of the influence. anyway, he's one of the people that I always wanted to work with, and I unfortunately never got the chance. But he didn't really work with so many people because he kind of was just like a mad genius. I mean, he worked with Phil Hartman. But what I wanted to say was, and it ties back to like the misremembering of things, is that when I was at the Rosie O'Donnell show, I was a researcher and I was like gonna become a writer, which all happened. And again, this is like memory failing me at exactly how everything laid out. But when I had the idea that I wanted to be a writer and I was really putting myself out there as like someone who could write, and I was writing stuff for the show, I begged our production manager to put in a voicemail line for viewers that our receptionist could just transfer, like kooky viewers that had opinions or whatever, transfer them to the voicemail line. Don't just like humor them and hang up on them. Transfer them to the voicemail line and let me listen to them. So the upshot was we got so many great things for the Rosie O'Donnell show from that voicemail. If anybody remembers the Rosie O'Donnell show, there was this woman, Davina, who called in to say that she knew more about Mary Tyler Moore than Rosie. And this whole huge bit that like the New York Times did a huge story on the Mary Tyler War was like came from that voicemail line. So that was the upside. The downside was that I was the one, because I had to ask for it, I was the one that had to listen to all the voicemails, like searching, sifting through to see if there was anything good that would be good for the show. We got a lot of good stuff from it. Besides Davina, the best thing from that voicemail line is that Paul Reubens, when he was going through this time in his life where things weren't great, but I still knew, like, I still loved him no matter what, he called and left messages with like ideas for like potential guests. And he recommended this little girl from the Valley who was singing at a restaurant with her family. Her family was a mariachi band, and their singer was this little girl. She was like 8 years old or something. Mm-hmm. He was like, she's so great. I'll get their information. I'll give it to you. She would be so perfect for Rosie and for the show. And so we had this little girl come on the show, and she was great. She was outstanding, amazing. Can't believe such a big voice came from such a little tiny body. But it just, I don't know. It was just amazing to me that at this time in his life, he still wanted to entertain people, even though he wasn't able to do it himself. And he was like, here's a way. I have a good eye for talent. This girl's talented and she would fit perfectly on this show. I was so honored that he was a fan of the Rosie show. I was so honored that he just called the regular like viewer line instead of trying to like make a showbiz connection. And he just had faith that the message would like get to someone. And it did. And I was so thankful to him because it was a great segment. But how this ties back to memory is for years, I have tried to check in on that little girl, like look her up and see where she was. And because the Rosie O'Donnell show hasn't been like online because there was so much music in it, it's not possible legally. Anyway, I had the wrong name for her all of these years. I was never able to find her. And I just had the wrong name. Like I knew for a fact that this was this girl's name. And so I was always searching this. It wasn't her name. I had the wrong name the whole time. I had at some point conflated her name with someone else's. And that happened when I was like in my 20s, not when I was 6. So anyway.
So what you're saying is that Mark is wrong. And I did not traumatize this girl. And that the girl just probably doesn't remember correctly.
I'm saying there's a good chance. I think especially like when you want to have a story, sometimes you like cobble together a little, not one. That sounds like when you want to lie about. No, I mean like when you want to tell a cool story about like something notable in your life that happened, sometimes snippets of other things sneak through. My husband and I were just having a conversation about this, like, because he works with a guy who used to work in entertainment. And he says that all the time when he's telling his kids, like his adult kids, and he's like an older guy, he's like my husband's age, when he's telling them stories about stuff that happened back in the day, he starts to question himself, like, did this even happen? Like, was I there? Did I really see this band play at the Whiskey? Like, am I telling the truth? Because it's so weird. It's like memory is a funny thing. And I guess you get to a point where you're like very convinced that certain things are true that maybe are conflated between a bunch of different stories. And then I guess you get to a point where you're like not even sure if things are true that you once knew 100% were fact. You start to be like, was that even me?
I mean, here's what I'll say. And I think that this is I have an amazing memory. I really do.
I do too.
Yeah. I remember things like, in part, I think because I wrote so much stuff down when I was younger.
Right.
Like, and, you know, people talk about like, oh, will kids today remember everything so clearly in part because they have all of this documentation of it? You know, like, is memory changing because of the way that we're documenting things? Maybe.
Right.
I don't know. That's possible. I don't know. I just know that like, I have a really, really, really great memory. And as soon as she told me like, I like totally remembered the situation that I babysat for this random kid like one time.
Yeah.
Because the dad was like my manager at CPK and they were in a bind and whatever.
It's interesting.
Memory is weird.
Memory is weird. Here's what I'll say about, I've always been told that I have a really amazing memory or like a mind like a steel trap. Here's what I'll say is interesting about, well, I think you probably do remember things because you write them down, because anyone can tell you that listening to a lecture, reading anything, you'll remember some of it. But if you somehow transpose it into notes that you handwrite, not type, but handwrite notes, it just does something to your brain where it's like, it's more in there. I think.
Friend, you know, if I cannot remember a line, I write it down 7 times.
Exactly. There you go.
Like, I
there
mean,
you go.
it is like the surest way for me to remember my lines if I ever get stuck. I mean, then I get to a place where I'm like, because I have like a moderately sort of photographic ability.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I just feel like, I do feel like things are shifting, minus that's me telling a girl but anyway, she was nice about it. It was funny. Like, she was. I mean, and she even was like a little bit like, I don't know, maybe you kind of like what you were saying. She's like, I don't know. It's just been my story. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's interesting.
But,
well, maybe there was an atmospheric, like maybe there was a change in a pressure system inside of you.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that is true.
Oh my gosh. I do think weather hugely affects our emotions though as well. Just the same way that I think like being in an airplane does something weird to you, to your emotions. I think that the way that weather is really affects us.
I think that's true.
Like more deeply than we suspect, maybe.
And I also think that moon stuff affects us. And I think it's weird when people are like, planetary stuff is bullshit, where it's like, I know I've said this before. I'm just going to say it one more time and then we can stop. I'll never say it again. But like the moon literally affects the tides. It moves the ocean. It moves the whole fucking universe around. The universe around. We are whatever, 80% water or whatever we are. What are we? I don't know. Whatever the amount of water we are is a great deal of fucking water. And my point to you is obviously it's going to affect us. Come on. Right. Yeah. I agree. It's like when people pay so much attention to what they eat, because like you're putting that in your body, but then they rub something onto their skin that they're just like not paying any attention to. Do you remember that? Have you ever read like the history of the Wizard of Oz, how the Tin Man almost died from like the toxic makeup that they were putting on him? Yes, it is totally insane. And I'm like, people are still putting shit on themselves where they're like, I don't know what's in this. And I'm like, I mean, okay, but your skin isn't like an armor, you know? I mean,
You might want to think about it. Transdermal absorption it's a real thing. Did I ever tell the story of how I learned that very hard lesson on this podcast?
I don't know yet.
But if I'm repeating myself, sorry. Everybody says this podcast is like hanging out with friends, which is so great and such a huge compliment. But I guess friends repeat stories. So if I'm repeating this, fast forward for 10 seconds. When I was a kid and I lived with my grandmother and my parents, and then just my grandmother and my mom, when my parents split up, my grandmother had a terrible heart condition. She would have a heart attack literally on every fucking holiday. Like that's where every holiday was like in the emergency room because she would like get stressed out and have a heart attack. Anyway, at one point, she was prescribed nitroglycerin paste, which was to help with her heart. And the way that you dispensed it is there was a little tear sheet of papers with a ruler on it, and you would like squirt cream out of a tube the length of her dosage, and then put the patch like cream side down on her chest to absorb through her skin. I was a child. My grandmother had bad eyesight, and so she would ask me to dispense the cream for the right amount and then put it on her chest for her because she didn't want to misdose herself. Mm-hmm. Again, reminder, I was a child, AKA stupid, AKA probably shouldn't even be picking up a tube of prescription nitroglycerin paste. And so one time I dispensed the length of the amount of medicine and I squeezed the tube too hard and I went over, and in my mind I was just like, I can't put this cream on my grandmother, but I have to get this off. So I just wiped off the extra with my finger and like rubbed it into my hand, and then like a second later passed the fuck out.
What was it? What was the cream?
It's nitroglycerin paste.
I don't know
and
what
like
that is even.
That is to make your blood pressure go down and to like lower your heart rate. And so for my grandmother and her frequent heart attacks, it was great. But for me being like 8, it wasn't great for me to rub. So that's where I learned. Of course, my grandmother called my uncle, who's an emergency medical technician, and not a doctor, but called my uncle, and he rushed over and he was like, oh yeah, she like passed out because she rubbed that cream into that like lowers your blood pressure and lowers your heart rate.
I've never heard of this, but that's fascinating. There's a cream that lowers your blood pressure. What are you talking about?
I mean, they also have tablets. She got tablets too, but I guess I don't know why she had the cream or whatever. But anyway, that's where I learned that you have to be careful what you put on your skin because it does actually get inside your body. And they were like, don't do that again to me, instead of being like, maybe we shouldn't let her do this. Like, that's a hard lesson she'll carry with her for life. When she does this in the future, I'm sure she'll be much more careful. Anyway.
You've never told that story because I have never heard of a cream that lowers your blood pressure so much. Like, that's fucking wild to me.
I don't know if they still use it. That's a good question. Does anybody?
Too many people were just like randomly
have done it,
passing out.
Oh my God. So stupid.
You know what, Caissie? This next sponsor just reminded me I need to reactivate my subscription. For when I get back. Well, for when I get back from Sweden. Because here's the thing about wild grain, guys. I love having a freezer full of fresh, ready-to-bake, delicious options from Wild Grain because I love fresh baked bread coming out of the oven. I love the pasta being ready in 4 minutes for hungry little children. Personally, I love that I can eat all of these items and not have a stomach ache.
Yes.
Which I do with a lot of other items that contain wheat and gluten, but I think maybe it has to do with their wild grain uses a slow fermentation process that is easier on my tummy and on lots of people's tummies, proven to be easier on tummies, lower in sugar, rich in nutrients and antioxidants. But here's the thing that I love about it. When you sign up at wildgrain.com/busy, You choose what type of box subscription you want to receive and how often. They make it very easy to reschedule or to skip. Like, for instance, if you're out of town for most of the summer.
Right.
Or cancel if you decide that, honestly, you want stomach aches and and bad bread in plastic bags.
Wild Grain's
That's
not saying that. Busy is
I'm saying that. That's the only reason I would think that you would want to cancel it once you start getting the Wild Grain subscription boxes is like, you're like, you know what? I really like my stomach hurting and I like bad, cheap products that aren't delicious.
Oh my gosh. I made pasta for the guys the other night and they were so nuts for it.
Can I tell you something? It literally tastes like homemade pasta. Mark, really fancies himself a chef, guys. And I love my baby's daddy in so many ways. But when I tell you that even he tasted that pasta and was like, this tastes like the pasta I make. And I was like, yeah, dude. Yeah, it does.
And it took me 4 minutes.
4 minutes. But all of the items cook in like under 25 minutes.
Yes. Who
Which is
doesn't
amazing.
want to make croissants in under 25 minutes?
You know how we feel about the croissants, guys. You remember.
The croissants are my next husband.
In my next life, I'm coming back as one of those croissants. That would be so weird. Like, I want to be devoured by a lady in Missouri.
It'd be a short but very memorable life.
So fulfilling, that life as a Wild Grain croissant. Anyway, guys, we love Wild Grain so much. Also, for every new member, Wild Grain donates 6 meals to the Greater Boston Food Bank. So you know that you're doing a good thing and you're eating great things yourself. It's what we in the biz call a win-win. That's a win-win. Plus, for a limited time, you can get $30 off the first box, plus free croissants in every box when you go to wildgrain.com/busy to start your subscription. You heard us. Free croissants in every box and $30 off your first box when you go to wildgrain.com/busy. That's wildgrain.com/busy, or you can use promo code busy at the checkout. Can I tell you how many people I have had conversations with about Nutrafol? Not because Nutrafol is a sponsor of this podcast, because it gets brought up in conversation.
Yes.
As
people love it.
A product that is working and that people love. I love it.
Yes.
Listen, guys, it's no secret that she is now 44 years old. And when I say that I noticed that like my ponytail wasn't as thick as it once was, I was like, well, that can happen due to many factors. Age.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
Sure. Also biology, lifestyle. Here's the deal. The hair care products that you use can literally, not figuratively, literally make or break your hair health. Color treating, heat styling, overwashing.
Guilty.
Me too.
Guilty.
Me too. Too much product usage. Basically,
Guilty.
it clogs your scalp's pores. And that is not a good environment for hair growth. So Nutrafol's hair growth supplements, which I have taken for years,
Yes.
they target the root causes of thinning hair from within, but the scalp care formulas, the Nutrafol's scalp care formulas, which are relatively new, help create a very healthy environment for improved hair quality. So you got to think about all of these things as like, listen, the skin on your face, you treat like,
Right.
That's why when you choose like a face wash or a moisturizer or whatever, you're like, oh, my skin is combination. It's oily. I tend to be dry, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
That changes over time. Same thing for your scalp, guys. And if you're not caring for your scalp regularly with the right products, it's out of balance, it's irritated, and then natural hair growth is slowed. So they've come up with this shampoo. They have a scalp mask, scalp essence. They're all gentle and effective. They work to exfoliate, purify, and balance the scalp for improved hair health. They're physician-formulated scalp care products. They're clinically shown to balance the scalp and visibly improve hair health and strength in just 2 weeks. Just 2 weeks. With their 100% natural fragrance, 0 parabens, which you've heard me say before, but I'm allergic to, and so is Cricket, and ingredients that are color and extension safe. I don't have extensions, but you know I color this hair. Anyway, the supplements are the foundation for healthy hair growth, while the scalp care products create the best environment for your hair to thrive and grow and be strong and beautiful. So I want you all to join us. Take the first step toward improved hair and scalp health right now. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our U.S. listeners $10 off your first scalp care order when you go to Nutrafol.com/scalp and enter promo code BUSY. Find out why over 4,000 healthcare professionals recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com/scalp. Enter promo code BUSY. $10 off your first scalp care order. It's available only to U.S. customers for a limited time. That's Nutrafol.com/scalp. Promo code BUSY for $10 off your first scalp care order.
Anyway, I'm so glad that you're feeling better. That makes me happy because you know what? You have a real couple weeks coming up. And so I'm glad that you're feeling like fortified to go through it.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting how things work, right? Like, you can't know when you're going to get through something until you're there.
Right.
And I think that I obviously know that I've been doing lots of work in many different ways to just deal with the enormity of like life, my life specifically, but like life period.
Yeah.
It's a weird time to be a person. Like, that's just a fact.
Yeah.
And I feel like I have read enough like inspirational quotes on Instagram or whatever that are like, what a gift that you're here right now in this moment or whatever. You know what I mean? And I try to like keep that at the forefront of my brain, but it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter if you know something that ended, a relationship or a job or whatever ended, and that it was like ultimately the best thing for you. It doesn't matter if you know that. Like, you still have a process of grieving. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or moving or selling a house or like any, you know, like a bunch of just anything. It's good to be aware. It's good to like know these things as truths. But the biggest truth of all is like, you don't know until you know. You can't,
right.
And you can't be past something until one day you are.
Right.
You know, and like, I don't know. And I think you're right, because boy, tensions have been high in my household, more so than usual.
Yeah.
So, guys, I gotta tell you, I had done the math. I knew it. I knew it was going to be this way. But this perfectly lines up with Birdie's PMS schedule. So that's not ideal.
That is not ideal.
Not ideal.
Woo.
Because as we've discussed, our friend has a great deal of PMS.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That wouldn't be easy even without hormones entering the
It's
conversation.
Insane. It's like, I don't know. Listen, I don't know if I said this already, but first of all, Mark and I went through the school schedule, and it's like she has a good amount of breaks, and
right.
It will be, I know that it seems sort of more difficult because it's a different country, obviously.
Right.
And there's an ocean between us. But in some ways, I feel like, I don't know. I don't think that that's the biggest deal for whatever reason. I don't know why I feel that way right now. Maybe that'll change. Maybe that will be different, feel different. I mean, Birdie was in Europe, has been in Europe before, and I've been not in Europe.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
There are lots of breaks, and like, I feel like in success, I think there's a possibility that the time that we end up spending together will be more valuable time.
Right.
Than if Birdie were at home for these next few years. Do you know?
Yeah. I mean,
we don't know.
Here's what I've been thinking about.
We don't know until we know.
You don't know until you know. Here's what I've been thinking about is that, like, I don't blame you guys. We've talked about how hard it is when you're like separating for a little while for whatever reason. And we've talked about how sometimes the subconscious thing that you do is like get on each other's nerves and push each other's buttons because it feels easier. I think it feels easier to be apart because you're angry with each other than to just say, like, we're apart because it's like a great thing, but it still hurts. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's weird to like sully a wonderful thing with this idea that it just hurts, you know? It's hard to articulate, I guess. So it's easier to like push each other's buttons and to part sort of like, yeah, I'm fucking glad I'm leaving. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, there's been a couple of those moments, but honestly, Birdie's been really good in terms of like, we've been having some really great quality moments too. She and I together for certainly. And she's been spending a lot of time with Cricket doing like really sweet things. And
oh, great. Good.
You know, they're so far apart in age. They're 5 years apart. And I think that sometimes for them, it's really hard. It's especially for Birdie, like really hard to connect. And she feels like it's so difficult for her, like not to be jealous of Cricket always because she thinks that we treat Cricket like a baby and we were never like that with her. And I was like, well, no, you just don't remember because you were a baby.
It was a long time ago. It was 5 years
ago. Yeah. And like, anyway, but I think in this moment where she's like, oh shit, like this is, it's got like things are going to be different. I think it's allowing her a little bit of freedom to like let go of some of that stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
And me too, a little bit.
Yeah.
But also there have been moments where I'm like, oh my God, are we going to make it through?
Well, it's got to be so hard. It's got to be, you know, I've sent one of my kids away many times.
Also like parenting break. I think that this is going to resonate. Mark and I both totally fucking dropped the ball on having anything for Cricket to do August. Like we literally were so fucking focused on this.
Right.
Boarding school, getting ready for board, like preparing, We fucking flaked. And the poor kid is just like, that's why Cricket was here for like most of the day. But I got my shit together, guys. And today I talked to one of her friend's moms who also was like, oh my God, I forgot to sign my kid up for a camp next week. And I was like, great. They're in a camp together, like a day camp.
Oh, great.
And then I'll figure out the end of the month when we come back. But like, yeah, it was just,
Well, I mean,
you guys understand. You guys get it.
Listen, I 100% understand. And I say this with love about my own kids. Sometimes one kid has so much that it takes up all the fucking thinking space that you have. And then the other kid, it's just their dynamic. They make themselves smaller. Like, I know for Lincoln, he never wants to be any trouble. And it still holds to this day. Like, if he's asking for a ride somewhere, if he gets sick, he's like apologetic for like trying to take up brain space in the family, because there just was a time when there was so much going on with Eli that Lincoln like made himself smaller, and probably would have been like, oh, don't worry about not having anything for me to do in August. Like, it's fine. It's no big deal. I'll entertain myself or whatever. But I'm glad that you found something for Crix to do for the month of August.
Wait, speaking of finding something, do you know what I just fucking found?
What?
I just found these weird scribbly notes from when we talked to Jamie Voslove.
Oh, yes. Medium Jamie Voslove. Yes.
But what is this? It says whale.
She told us that when we saw orcas,
we would know. Save the best for last. Busy. I wish I kept better notes, guys. Letter S and a baby. The fuck does that mean? What's letter S and a baby? Guys, come on. Someone
That's a
help me.
Good question.
Farm, rooster, chicken, early bird, early riser, play jokes, wave of heart healing. Okay.
I do remember the thing about an orca.
Me too.
Like when we see something about an orca that will have a better understanding, which,
what the fuck's happening with the whales?
That's happening. I know there's a lot happening with orcas and with whales and dolphins and all kinds of things, which I know people are very anxious that it has to do with climate change. And I'm not discounting that anxiousness, but I have also seen like the things with some of the animals stranding themselves. Like I did read something that they're matriarchal, and like when the mother leader of the pod like strands herself, everybody follows. So it's kind of like a cult, I guess. And it's really sad because a bunch of animals wind up dying. I don't know if that, and I don't know why the matriarchal figure in that pod stranded herself. That could also have to do with climate change, or it could just be, I don't know. But anyway, yeah.
Is it true that they formed a heart before they did it?
It did look kind of like a heart. Yeah, I saw a photo of it. Yeah. But that's like, okay, here's where I'm kind of like, okay, yes, it did kind of look like a heart, but like the iconic representation, and by iconic, I don't mean like slay, I mean like the icon of a heart, like the emoji of a heart, which is not the representation of what a biological heart looks like. Uh-huh. So I'm like, how do these sea creatures know what like Lisa Frank's version of a heart looks like? That do they have Lisa Frank trapper keepers down there in the sea? No, I don't know. So that's where I'm kind of like, is it a coincidence or is it something magical? But I feel like whales would know what a biological heart looks like, but not doodle of a heart.
How would they fucking know what a biological heart looks like?
Because they have them and they've probably seen the innards of other animals before. How would they know what a heart looks like?
Well, I guess if we're going magical thinking,
that's true.
Heart.
Yeah,
I can't imagine that they're not doing heart surgery down in the deeps.
Well, they do eat people, or what? Not people, but they do eat other creatures, correct? They're not like vegetarians.
Some of them.
I don't know. The science is beyond me, but I did kind of feel like, well, is it a coincidence? Is the piece of like whatever they're beaching themselves on, is that like maybe heart-shaped? I don't know. And also I have to say, like, now I'm so distrustful of photos like that because of AI. Because people are always like, look, these two little foxes made themselves into a perfect heart. And then the center is filled with their babies. And then like you look and like the fox paw has like 7 extra fox toes or whatever, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't know. Sometimes I get distrustful, which I hate that because I hate not being able to trust my own 2 eyes. And I love amazing photographs of things, you know? And like, I'm not even mad about some of the applications for AI. I think there are some really interesting and probably ethical applications for using AI, but I think we're going in the wrong direction with it. Like, I don't think AI should be replacing creativity and innovation because it can't be creative or innovative. AI should be replacing things that are repetitious that we have to do that waste our time when we could be being creative and innovative. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Like filling out medical forms.
Exactly. Calendars, filling out calendars, you know? Because, like, here's what I'll say. I may have undiagnosed ADD, but calendars really fucking help me a lot. They help me remember things that I need to remember that are important. You know what I'll also say? Being in entertainment, so many fucking people are resistant to putting things in their fucking calendars, and their assistants, God bless those kids, don't know how to do it. And I'm just like, you're like the computer kids. You should absolutely know how to click on something and put it in your boss's calendar. Why do you not know how to do this? And so I find myself so often, and like, it's a real dance because I'm like, is this condescending if I say to this person that works for whoever, let's say my lawyer?
Me?
No, I was going to say, let's say my lawyer, and be like, honey, do you know how to put like an appointment in your boss's calendar? Has anyone ever showed you that? Do you need me to show you how to do it? Do you know how to send a Zoom invite link for a meeting that your boss wants to set up? It's really concerning, but those are the things that like we should be using AI for. Cause like you don't get any points for knowing how to do that, but you sure do get dinked for not knowing how to do it, you know?
Yeah, I do.
Anyway, sorry for the rant.
I liked it. I was into it. Yeah, so we've got one more week here.
Wow.
And then it's all happening. We're going to go to Sweden. And then I'll be back.
You just got to breathe through it. Now, do you know, you have friends in Sweden, you have adults in Sweden.
We have people. We've got some people there now. Yeah.
That always made me feel better when I was sending my kids somewhere far away, just to know that I had some boots on the ground in the immediate area.
And they're literal boots because it's so fucking cold. They've got to wear boots. Yes. No, we do. And we'll see some people while we're there too, to like make further Birdie, especially for Birdie, to make a further connection. And also I'm hopeful that Bird will make some friends, and then we'll have some friends there that are, you know, have home bases not far.
Yeah.
So kids come from all over, honestly, all over the world. It's an international boarding school, which is great. And I think that'll be really cool too. And I have friends in London that are like really good friends in London that is very relatively close to Stockholm. So if, you know, anything were like, you know, like they could get there really quickly-ish.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's wild. It's wild.
I also have a handful of friends in Sweden, backup friends, very responsible grown-ups, artists, all of them. So if you ever need a backup Swede,
Honey, who doesn't need a backup Swede?
Also, Amy Poehler's brother lives there, so
I need to text Poehler. I'm so
I sent you his phone number, right? I did.
No,
I'll send it to you again.
No, and by the way, you didn't. I'm telling
Okay.
you didn't.
All right.
I promise you didn't.
What if I did? What happens then?
Let's find it. Look right now. Look and see where you would have texted me, right?
I would think so. That's hilarious. I don't know Amy Poehler's brother, by the way.
That's weird. Why don't I just text Poehler so that she can put me in touch with him? Because it's weirder if I'm just like, I got your number from my friend Caissie, who you don't really know.
That is true.
You know what? I'm just making a note, and I'm just gonna text Poehler.
Oh no! I texted you on May 23rd. Greg Poehler's phone number.
But did you say I don't really know him?
I think that's probably why you never called him using the phone number. If I had to guess, I texted you his phone number and his email that came from a mutual friend who said, Greg Poehler lives in Sweden. And I was like, yes, of course. And Amy Poehler's the best in the world. So of course, like her brother is the best. That's why everyone is suggesting reaching out to him, I guess.
I know. I should text.
Right?
I'm going to do that.
All Poehlers are good. APAG. And Greg Poehler, he has TV shows in Sweden. They're great. Wait, did you watch the Swedish death cleaning show?
No. I know.
Oh my God. It's so good. I really enjoyed it. And Amy's voiceover is amazing. But I really liked it. It was, it's very much like a Queer Eye type show, but it's 3 Swedish people that are helping people like clear out the clutter in their homes, and is very soothing. But they had killer senses of humor, all of them, and can't recommend it enough. So anyway, I think we talked about it before on the podcast. Watch it if you haven't watched it yet.
Okay, I will.
Not just you, but like people in general, so it can like come back another time.
I mean, is anything coming back ever again? What's happening? We don't know.
That's a really good question. I did see something today. Our friend Ashley texted from The Wrap, a headline: studios intensify efforts to find a path back to strike bargaining table, quote unquote, soon. So like while
there's a path, which is just to show the fuck up.
Just to go sit at that table.
You gotta
also like they just
table.
that path that they're mentioning has been there the whole time.
The whole time.
So my guess is that, summer's coming to a close and like they're like back to school, back to work. That's what I'm hoping. But that all being said, while it makes me hopeful that they're discovered a path back to the table, that just means sitting down at the table. There's still the work of like bargaining at the table. I don't fucking know how long that's going to take, but there's been some drama this week because like the Screen Actors Guild has been granting like waivers for certain projects. And I think there's like divisiveness between whether people think things should be allowed and people who are like, no, strike means strike. It means no exceptions to anything. But what I just keep thinking, because I'm not an actor, is I mainly just keep thinking like this is getting people on the same side to fight, which isn't the best. And we need to like stay focused on who the real enemy is.
Yeah, I also think, and I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion. I haven't really talked to many people about it, but I also think that like it's not a small thing for the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of crew members that are out of work all across our industry.
Yeah.
And a little bit to me, I am hopeful that my guild made like very judicious decisions in terms of like the projects that they're approving to film, that those projects will, even in success, even if they end up selling to a streamer down the line, will honor the requests or what we're asking for in the new contracts, even if those things get sold to a Netflix or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that's also like the conversation that people are having, which is like, yeah, independent movies, like, of course, but their goal mostly is to be picked up by one of those places so that people can see it, right? It needs distribution. A24 sort of exists outside of the system. I mean, they still have their distribution, but they must be willing or able to sign some sort of agreement that they agree to the residual asks for streaming, which in that case, then
yeah, that's what the waivers are. They're like,
but then my feeling is like a little bit like, I understand like a strike is a strike, but there's like, you also don't want every union to turn against other unions. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like you don't,
yeah, of course. Or you don't want people to starve out. Like, you know, like we've been talking about.
Like they were saying they wanted to have happen.
Right. Right.
The producers, not the Screen Actors Guild or the Writers Guild.
Right.
I mean, the only bummer to me, I mean, not only bummer, there's so many bummers, but like
so many bummers.
One of the bummers of granting the waivers is that the Writers Guild is not participating in that. And so like I wish it was like a little bit more of a unified front, because I think that it's, as someone who is a writer, who was married to a screenwriter for many, many, many eons still, the writers won't be allowed on set of those projects. And that's a bummer. And that's not great. Like a writer deserves to and should be on a set.
Yeah. There is
part of the creative process.
Right. Because it's part of the creative process. And it's wild to think that there won't ever be like a line rewrite or something, you know, like obviously.
Totally.
There will be.
Totally. Well, unless something is like totally improv, but I don't even know what that is. Anyway.
But you're not supposed to do that, right?
I don't know.
You're not supposed to improv? I don't know. Anyway, whatever. There is no perfect solution. So we have to just go forward in the most best way, and everybody is doing what they think is right. And the real issue is that what the AMPTP thinks is right is actually wrong. And so that's who we have to remember is who we're trying to like talk some sense to, and hopefully not have too much rancor within the ranks.
Fucking fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Faria. When are they offering me a deal to sing the theme song for Foria?
That's a really good question.
Because
I'm
listen,
sure you would.
Am I slightly ripping off another very popular song? Possibly. But here's what advertisers do all the time. Like they always, jingle people are constantly like, I know this because best friend Ellie Beebe worked in advertising for so many years. They're always like, we want a song that sounds like Get Happy, but it's like, we don't have to pay the royalties. You know what I mean?
And it's for like Get Chickpeas.
Come on, get chickpeas. Stop it. You guys.
The point is, you would probably accept being paid in Foria product.
I would accept being paid in Foria products.
Because that's how much we love Foria.
Here's the other thing I'm going to say. Guys, I'm planning on having a lot of sex in the next 6 months of my life. I'm just going to say, I'm putting it out there. This is my time. This is your time. Okay? This is my time. And you know what I want? I want mind-blowing orgasms in ways I want to hear colors and see sounds. Like, and that is what Foria truly delivers, because products for sex are so frequently marketed to male pleasure and penis pleasure. Pleasure. And like, even like I remember back in the day when I would have sex for fun, it's all like this thing will make this blowjob taste good. And like even the names, the packaging, the branding, like all of it geared toward male pleasure, right?
Right.
And then Foria comes around and they're like, listen, guys, you know who we want to focus on? We want to focus on the labias. We want to look at the clitoris and the labia as a 1-2 punch. But except you don't actually have to punch it.
Yeah, no need.
And therein lies why the orgasms are so good. The sex oil, the awaken arousal oil, when used in combo. Also, the suppositories are incredible. Foria products are made to help women and people with vulvas fully experience their sexual pleasure, heightened orgasms, more sexual comfort. Guys, I'm telling ya, just order the product and just like introduce it into your routine and see what happens. Let's just see what happens. I'm just saying, let's just see what happens. That's all I'm saying. You let us know. You let us know. You let us know. You have our permission to try it. We endorse you. We endorse it. We endorse the F out of it.
For sure.
Start with a bottle of Foria. Foria is offering a special deal for our listeners. Get 20% off your first order by visiting foriawellness.com/best. Or you could just use code BEST at the checkout. That's FORIA wellness.com/best for 20% off your first order. I very much recommend trying the Awaken Arousal Oil and the Sex Oil. You're going to thank us. You are going to thank us. We want to hear the stories. Goodbye. Sakara Life. Oh, Sakara. Guys, I'm going to say it. Today, there are no skips on these ads. There's not a skip on these ads today.
They're all top-notch blue
They
ribbon.
are all, honestly, my favorite, and I love the ones that aren't on this week too. But this week, I have no notes. There are no skips, and I have no notes. You guys, I love Sakara. I love it so much. When I get back from Sweden, I'm going to get back into my Sakara for a little bit because I like to reset my bod. I need to reset myself. Sometimes I go a little crazy, you know?
Even sometimes, even when I'm on like an okay eating program, when I go out of town, just like traveling itself throws me out of whack.
And I need 100%.
Yeah.
That's really more to the point because you're just like, I don't know, your system slows down, your body's confused. You're like, where are we? I can't poop anymore. And Sakara's flexible signature nutrition program makes it very easy to plan nourishing, feel-good meals around your packed schedule. Dinner plans this week, listen, you can just change it. You're just on breakfasts and lunches and you don't have the dinners. You can do just dinners. Like for me, I like the options because I do have like a schedule where sometimes I'm like very packed in the week. Like I'm going to see a show this night, or I know that I'm not going to be able to have time to cook as much for myself as I'd like to. And another thing that is like very weighing heavily on my mind recently is with all the discussion of global warming, with all the studies that have come out about how much impact not eating animal protein has on the environment.
Right.
And your carbon footprint.
Right.
And like, I'm a lady who likes to fly. You know what I mean? So like, I do think about that a little bit. And like, I want to eat more plant-rich and organic meals, you know, that taste good. And I don't know how to make that stuff myself. I really don't. I love the meals. They're ready to eat. They're delivered to your door. And if you're a person who's like, I don't know where to start, guess what? Guess what Sakara has now, which I love.
What?
They have a quiz. They have a quiz. I love a quiz. I love a quiz because then I love the quiz giving me an answer and the answer telling me what it is that I need to do. That is the dream. Sakara will recommend the program and products that are ideal for you and your needs and your schedule. And it's fun to take because who doesn't love a quiz? And in a few minutes, you're going to know which one of their plant-rich offerings is perfect for you. Also, a fall is like great time. It's almost the fall. We're almost back to school. Is that true?
It's true. Some people are going back in the next couple weeks.
I know. And I'm just saying, let's all get back on our routine.
Yes.
Let's all get back into a place where we're feeling like good about everything, including our impact on all the things.
Agreed.
Sakara brings expertly designed organic nutrition programs and wellness essentials right to your door. They're science-backed, ready-to-eat meals deliver results you can see and feel, from weight management and eased bloat to boosted energy and clearer skin. And I have to tell you, I'll like actually post photos at a certain point. My skin, when I am doing the Sakara program, literally I'll walk down the street and people will be like, "What's your routine? You look incredible." Like, people will shout at me, like, "I want your skincare," because it's that good. I'm not kidding. And right now, Sakara is offering our listeners 20% off their first order when they go to sakara.com/best or enter code BEST at checkout. That's Sakara, SAKARA.com/best to get 20% off your first order. Sakara.com/best. So what are you waiting for? Well, tell me, what are you doing your best at this week?
This week, well, I said earlier, I haven't done the best on the birthday, but I also just feel like it's been a fucking year. Like Matt told me, it's been a rebuilding year. Oh, I started to say, but I didn't say that, like, the one gift that I got him was so bad. Like, it was, I know he had been wanting this leaf blower, but like, he's not like a guy that like wants a leaf blower. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a good gift. That would be like the equivalent of me getting a vacuum cleaner, which depending on the circumstances could be fine.
I feel like that would be like so great to get a leaf blower. I would like
You want a leaf blower? But anyway, I got him the leaf blower, which is fine. But I felt like, oh God, this isn't really like the most thoughtful gift. And then we had to go to the hardware store because we're doing a bunch of shit. And he had a list of like caulk, screws, blah, blah, blah. And then the last item was leaf blower. So I was like, oh my God, it's just on your like list. Like you know what I mean? Like, I got it for you for a gift and you just put it on like a list. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I was like, don't get the leaf blower because I already have it for you at home. But I just felt like, ugh. So I feel like I'm really not doing it on the birthday. But as Matt said, like, it's a rebuilding year. Like what? And like you said, it's not a big birthday. It's not like but we do have a big anniversary coming up in October. So I need to get my shit.
What is it?
It's our 25th anniversary.
Oh my
our 25th.
God.
Yeah.
What are you going to
do? I don't know, because like we have
party
stuff, maybe, but it's in late October.
Yeah. So what do you mean? So what? Late October.
We might have stuff happening. I don't know. We have to talk about it.
Wait, you and me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know. You could still throw a fucking party.
True, but like
more so reason because then you'd have money.
Maybe, or maybe it won't happen. I just have felt like, you know, here's where I'm like, maybe I do have
anniversary
ADD,
might not happen.
No, like our thing. I don't know what's happening. So
I don't either. I feel like everything's been very confusing, and also like I do think we've got to like we will figure it out. But like I think the communication is for everyone is just. I feel like everyone is like
everyone's having a year,
a little bit. I feel like people are just like, I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I don't know.
Yeah. So we have to figure that out, but I'm sure we'll do something, but I do need to get my shit together because I truly have missed every like wedding celebration, including like the celebration of our actual wedding.
Wait, what is What is year 25?
Year 25? I don't even know. I didn't even look
at it. It's a jubilee.
It's a jubilee. It's a diamond jubilee.
I think it's a jubilee.
What does that mean?
I don't know, but I only know this because, okay. So guys, here's the thing. I kind of feel like my future might be pottery. Now the big pots, obviously.
Obviously.
I don't even know though if I even want to say this because it's a surprise for one of my friends.
Yeah.
Silver, 25th anniversary is
silver anniversary. All right.
It is very exciting.
I'll figure out something silvery. But anyway, yeah. So I'm not doing my best at celebrations, but luckily I have very understanding partner.
Wedding anniversary, silver jubilee. Why is it called a jubilee? What is a jubilee?
I think it just means a party.
Jubilee.
I think it just means you're jubilant, which is a special anniversary of an event, especially one celebrating 25 or 50 years of a reign or activity.
I like this. I love the people also ask. That is just my favorite thing,
Yes.
But under it, there's is a 25th marriage anniversary a silver jubilee? Silver jubilee marks a 25th anniversary. Okay. And then the next question is, what do you say for 25 years of marriage? Ready? And here are the answers that pop up when you click down. Best wishes to the strongest couple I know.
That's what AI gets you.
May God bless you and fill your life with more love and happiness. A true relationship stands the test of time! ! Time flies by when you are with someone you love. I am so proud to be a part of your journey. How do you use silver jubilee in a sentence? The college celebrated its silver jubilee last year.
Does not add any context.
At all. At all. There is no context. A jubilee is a special anniversary or event, especially 25th or 50th. Telling you, guys, we are having a jubilee celebration for you.
Here's the most useful context, which I think it makes sense. What is the biblical meaning of Jubilee, which whatever you think of the Bible, but I think it has an important social context. The Jubilee year occurring every 7th Sabbath year, thus every 50 years, is an economic, cultural, environmental, and communal reset when the land and people rest and all those who are in slavery are set free to return to their communities.
Wow.
So that's what I think is probably how the word Jubilee took hold in our language and in the culture of many people.
Okay.
And in the dictionary, it says Jubilee is a year of emancipation and restoration provided by ancient Hebrew law to be kept every 50 years by the emancipation of enslaved Hebrews, restoration of alienated lands to their former owners, and omission of all cultivation of the land.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think maybe there are different words.
100%. But I can see A, how it took hold in the cultures of many people, and B, why you and I don't readily know exactly what it is, because it's been a long time since anyone has culturally adhered to that. You know what I mean? Like people I hear it from car dealerships now, you know what I mean? Rather than, it's interesting. It's a wonderful word, Jubilee.
I just thought of it in terms of the monarchy.
Yes. Yeah, that makes sense.
Jubilees for Queen Elizabeth.
Yes. And it also has to do with Catholicism. So that makes sense. The Roman Catholic Pope proclaimed every 25 years as a time of special solemnity. So anyway, interesting. What is this called? Etymology? Etymological look at what Jubilee means.
Yeah, I love
But
that.
I have to get my Jubilee shit together for the 25th coming up in October.
Well, here's what I want to say. And I'm just going to hope that my friend, I'll just say it on the podcast. Christine, if you're listening right now, please stop listening.
Christine,
The podcast
don't
is
listen.
over for you.
Yeah. Talk to you next week, Christine.
We love you. We love you, Christy. Okay. So Christine and her boyfriend are celebrating 20 years.
Oh, wow.
So we were looking up when I was at Kate's, we were FaceTiming. We were FaceTiming the other day, the three of us. Group FaceTimes, guys, I got to tell you. I want to tell you two things that I'm all about right now. Number one, a group FaceTime. Number two, FaceTime in general. Number three, a video text message to people. Realize now that's what I should have been doing this whole time. My Instagram
video text messages
instead of Instagram stories. Just send it. Yeah, like I can send a story directly to the person who I want to see it.
Wait, can I ask you a question though? A sidebar? Do you enjoy getting those?
I do.
I always feel weird, and I think it's a testament to like how much togetherness my family has, but I always feel weird because people send me voice texts all the time, and then I have to like go be somewhere private because what if the person said some like crazy shit, you know? And so I never get to those voice texts.
But I always have like headphones with me. So I always just
I never do.
Headphones.
I never do. Okay.
But this is wild. Wild, not really. I prefer a video to a voice memo text.
Okay. All right.
That's what I prefer. Like I would rather someone send me a video. Sarah Bareilles sent me a video yesterday or 2 days ago, and I just sent her one back. I prefer that over a voice text because voice texts aren't as fun to me. It's really just about being fun.
It's about fun. Okay.
So we're on the FaceTime. They're celebrating their 20th anniversary. We look up what it is. It's porcelain, and it is not a Jubilee. And I'm like, porcelain, bitch, have you come to the right place? I just bought a ton of porcelain to throw with at my studio, like at my pottery place, you know?
Oh, cool.
And so then I was like, what can I make for you guys for your anniversary to celebrate? What blah, 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 blah. And we like couldn't really, she was like looking at porcelain stuff online and like we couldn't really think of anything. And then when I was with Kate over the weekend, just the two of us, like Christina's our friend who's like the most, like she's a total Anglophile, like always has been obsessed with living in England. Like she wants to move to London, like not London. She wants to move to England after her kids out of the house, after their kids out of the house. Like she loves like when she goes on vacation, she's like, I'd love to just like, I want to go to like Brighton. I'm like, what? Like, you know, she just loves it.
Yeah.
Then I was like thinking about those weird commemorative plates. You know?
Yes.
And so.
They're all over Canada.
Right.
Too.
Well, I'm making them a weird commemorative plate for their anniversary out of porcelain.
Genius.
And also you can do, I don't know if you guys know this, but whatever. There's all kinds of things you can do with ceramics, but you can make like a photo transfer thing that you can do in like a third or a fourth firing.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to probably use like gold luster. And so gold luster would be the third firing. So then the photo would be but anyway, so I'm making them like, and then I was like, because by the way, first of all, I looked on Etsy to see if anyone does that.
Yeah.
And the ones that I saw were like too earnest.
They were too sincere and not like, they weren't
not
campy.
Not what I'm looking.
Not camp.
They weren't camp. I want to camp. Guys, I am giving you camp ceramics. Ceramics that are camp. pig pots. Also, I made Christine this other pot that is so fucking good because she loves crabs. The animal.
Oh, yeah.
Like the animal, not the
Food.
or
The
do people call
the
them?
parasite?
Yeah, the parasite. I don't know. Anyway, so I made her like a pig pot, except it's a crab. And it's
Oh.
it's being, guys, fingers crossed, being bisque fired this week. Whew! Let's pray. Anyway.
Wow. And I saw that your pig pot for the WGA garage sale is up to $525.
I think it's over, isn't it?
I don't know. Because I was going to bid on it. And then I was like, oh, $525 is too rich for my blood.
Wait, let me look at the link. How would I even get it? Wait, did the Charity Buzz, is the cocktails with me in New York City still up? I don't know. Maybe. The link's not in my...
No, the closing. Okay. So the pig pot, handmade by Busy Phillips. The closing time is Sunday at 7 p.m. PDT, August 6th, 2023. It's going for $525 now, but if you can afford it and you want to make a contribution to the W Garage Sale strike auction, if you can outbid $525, maybe the pig pot could be yours.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money for a little pig pot. It was.
It's, by the way, it's a mid-size. It's a mid-size. It's not the smallest I've made. It's a mid-size. But here's what I know from you guys. What do you think the ballpark range for a pig pot in a store would be? One of my pig pots.
Oh, that's a good question.
I mean, it's not, we're not mass producing. I'm not like slip casting this shit and putting out a bunch of the same. It's a one of a kind sucking pig.
Can I ask a question, two questions that are, how long does it take you to make a pig pot? I mean, like man hours for you.
I could time it. I mean, there's the throwing of the pot, the trimming, the like fucking pot business. And then the hand building stuff is more, that's probably like each pig-o, it's probably like an hour and a half-ish, I would say, for that for the hand building the pig onto the wings are more intense.
Right.
So like an hour and a half-ish for that part of it. Throwing pots can be anywhere from like, I don't know, 10 to 40 minutes, like depending.
Right.
Depending on what's going on or how hard it is that day or what, because like wedging the clay and all that shit, which I hate.
Right.
Clay. Right. And then there's the glazing, and then there's bisque firing. There's underglazing, bisque firing, and then glazing. And I would say, okay, so I'm going to give you all in. I'm going to say rough est 4.5, 5 hours.
Okay. All right.
Maybe.
I don't have a lot to relate it to, but here's what I'll tell you. Remember, obviously, I was obsessed with the Malm mid-century fireplace, and a bunch of our listeners banded together and bought one and sent one to me as a gift, a real life one. But in the meantime, a lot of people, when I was like on my quest for finding that amazing fireplace that you all found for me, a lot of people sent me this woman, Kate Schrader Ceramics. She makes mini Malm like incense burner, like it's made to look like the fireplaces. And she charges $165 for her mini Malm fireplaces, and they always sell out. They always sell out. And so I don't know, those aren't like, I think she's kind of making the same little fireplace every time, but I think she's also making it by hand every time. So I don't know how that compares, but it's $165. I do also know that other people are kind of ripping off her idea, and they sell theirs on Etsy, and like a knockoff is $68 on Etsy. But if I was gonna buy one, I would buy the
what's her name again?
original. Kate Schrader Ceramics. If I was going to buy one, I'd buy the original from her, and it costs $165, and you like have to get, or sometimes like $150 I see for a pre-order on one, but you have to like get on a waiting list and pre-order it, and they always sell out, and they're so fucking adorable. So cute.
Oh, yes. Yes. I've seen these before.
Yeah.
You know what I can do for you? Listen, I'm not I'm not trying to bite her style. I'm just saying I wouldn't sell it. I just would make it for you.
But maybe that can help you like consider what the market would bear. Hers are tiny?
Yeah, those are very tiny, those things.
I don't know.
I'm looking at it. The little
inches.
It's like there's one, it's like an incense thing, right? There's one sitting next to a cup of coffee.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I guess you have to take into consideration the hours, the size, the artistic input that you had into it, and, you know, the cost of materials.
Yeah, I love her stuff. Her stuff is so cool. I don't follow her, but I've like seen it before and I really love it.
Yeah, she makes great stuff, and she has great ideas, and it's 100% like my aesthetic. She makes jewelry, like ceramic jewelry, which I'm very curious about that. But I don't wear complicated jewelry, so I'm out on that. But everything else she makes, woo,
I know,
love it.
So cute. I think it's mostly hand built though, right? I don't think she's not throwing these guys.
I don't think so. I wouldn't think so, but
I love hand building stuff. Maybe that's what I need to get back into.
You know what you definitely need to do is you need to watch The Great Pottery Throwdown.
I know.
Put Swedish Death Cleaning after The Great Pottery Throwdown, but watch The Great Pottery Throwdown.
Listen, girl.
Because you truly will love it. You truly will love it. It's your people.
I know.
Would you say that's what you're doing your best at this week?
What?
Is your pottery endeavors? Or something else?
No, bitch. Moving on.
Yeah, that's true.
No, like, honest to fucking God. I think I am doing my best and have done my best at allowing myself to like feel the things that I have felt in the way that I have felt them, which at times has been so uncomfortable. I can barely stand / feel like I will ever move forward. And I have like returned again and again to the inalienable truth that no feeling is final and that I can't know what the future will bring, but that I am always supported by the universe, and that the thing that is meant to be and meant to happen and meant for me is going to be the thing that ends up happening. And like I'd said earlier, like having that knowledge and feeling that knowledge are two different things. And so I've returned again and again to those ideas, and I have not felt them. Even in my best moments, I've been lying until literally this weekend. And it's like a pressure system moved through the East Coast where I am. It really also felt like a pressure system finally moved through me and like released me from its grips. And I just feel like very grateful that I was patient-ish. I was patient enough. I knew, like, in order to just continue. And like, I don't know. It's been fucking rough. And like, I feel aware. I've been in therapy for my entire life, guys. And I've had really good therapists. Definitely aware that like healing isn't a straight line. There might be setbacks. I'm going to probably feel like shit in 2 months or a week or whatever. Something's going to happen. And fine. But I really can't even tell you, like, it feels like such a seismic shift. It almost feels like I took a pill or something. Like it like is crazy. That's all.
That's all.
That's it.
Well, whatever it is, I mean, I'm just happy for you. I'm happy for you in this moment. And you know, all things considered, with everything that's going on, like in our lives, in our careers, to feel good and feel like you can manage it is a huge deal. So I'm kind of glad that it happened like suddenly and magically, because if it was gradual, you might not notice it, but I feel like you're really noticing it because it kind of just was like a moment, like a switch flipped. Anyway, I think that's great.
It almost felt like a spell was broken.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I know. It was
If you were
interesting.
Carrie Bradshaw, you'd say, and just like that.
And just like that, the spell
was broken.
Tell me what you're doing your best at this week.
Well, I guess I'm just doing my best at, like, you know, I'm just trying to make shit work. I'm trying to make shit work, like, for this podcast. I'm trying to make shit work for, like, friends that need it. Like, an actor friend was going out of town, and if you needed any evidence to how much actors need to be on strike, this person doesn't live in a place where there's room to park more than one car, and so their car is traditionally parked on the street, and last time they had to go out of town for something, their car was towed, so they were like, hey, I heard your driveway is big on the bigger side because I live in the valley, and everybody, you know, I think generational families live in houses in the valley maybe, so they make space for cars here. So their car is in my driveway, and I was just trying to like work that out, and that required Eli to like move his truck that he's working on out of. So just all this stuff, like it's boring logistical stuff. So maybe like, who knows, like maybe I underwent some shift and I didn't even notice it because I was like so busy with all the little details. And then just out of that time, like I carved out a couple of times to like go swimming in my little swim spa, and like it's so much better now, but we got a cover like that I can move. It's so dumb, but to talk about shit like this, but it's also so important, which is like, if there's like an obstacle to you doing something that you think like this would make a difference in my life, it would make a difference in how I felt about myself or physically.
Oh my God.
And there's an obstacle to it, like say a cover that you can't move yourself and you have to wait until someone's there to help you with it. Then look for another solution. Because like, why are you hemming yourself into not being able to do a thing that you think that you would really enjoy? So anyway, we got this cover that I'm able to move myself. And so now I can just do that without like hurting myself or whatever. And so I have done that. And so I'm proud of that because, you know, the danger with removing an obstacle from something that you claim is the obstacle to what you want to do is that you still don't do the thing, even though it's ideal circumstances.
Right.
You know, and there have been a million times where I have said, if I just had this, if I just didn't have to do this, and then that thing comes true, whether like by chance or like by my own effort, making that happen. And then I still don't do the thing. Then I have to like get real with myself about what's stopping me from doing the thing that I claimed that I was dying to do, if only this XYZ wasn't holding me back. So in this case, I said the cover was holding me back. we put a different cover on there that I can manage myself. And I have been out there and swimming and stuff like that. And which is a good thing because lymphatic fluid, you know, we talked about it on the podcast. I think that being in water is good for moving my lymph juices around and out of my body. So so that's a good thing. And it really like tires me out, and you know, it's good exercise. It's like in a good way. Everything about it is a good thing. And it was this thing that I really, really wanted. And then I wasn't using it as much as I wanted to. And I felt guilty about that. And which is stupid. Like, but also everybody feels guilty about shit like that. You know what I mean? Like everybody feels guilty about.
I know. And that's like, we got to stop feeling guilty about shit like that. I do have to.
Yeah.
That is like, I totally agree with you. And also I'm like, yeah, and we got to be done with that. Cause like, I don't know, again, a little bit, it's like, you'll get to it when you get to it. When the thing inspires you to order the cover that you can remove, you know what I mean? I don't know. Or maybe like that, those feelings are the things that make it possible for you to then ultimately like order the fucking cover that you can do.
Yeah. Yeah. And
like doesn't feel bad ever. I don't know.
Right. Shout out to my husband for being like, yeah, we should definitely do that. And like the company that made the cover was so great and so helpful. And yeah. So anyway, just like little logistical things, like trying to. The one thing that's hard about having a life like this, but I actually feel so lucky during this strike, is like I've kind of like the way that everybody's trying to make everything work now is like how I've been trying to make everything work for like a longer time. So I'm a little more experienced about it. But the one thing is just like trying to make everything work, all the little pieces of traffic and like things that you have to remember to do is a lot. Like it's very different than just having a job where you go into an office or go into a studio and like that's what everyone's focused on. You know, it's very different, and it's challenging in a way, in a lot of good ways, I'm sure, but in a lot of ways that I'm just like, ugh, like it's not my favorite, but it's, you know, you don't get to choose the way that you're challenged always. And I'm sure it's good for me in a lot of ways to try to figure everything out. I'm sure there's a lesson in it.
Yeah, that you have ADD. I just get some fucking medication. It'll be fine.
I'm sure that probably is the lesson, but Lord knows I'm not gonna even try to get it during the shortage.
No,
what's happening? Is there any update? Were you able to get?
No, I don't know.
I did see that the patent on Vyvanse is ending, I think at the end of this month. I don't know. Someone correct me. Eli actually told me about this because he's on top of the shortage because he takes it as well. And I know that the patent is ending and then other makers are going to be able to make it. So hopefully that will, you know, all of the problems that we talked about in the past, notwithstanding, and why that never should have happened in the first place. Hopefully there's about to be a shift in the way that medication is made and distributed so that people who need it can fucking get it without. I mean, can you think of like a worse situation to tell a bunch of people with ADD that they have to like do all this shit to try to get their medicine that they need to help? I mean,
that's why I'm like, I can't.
It's a cosmic joke.
It is truly a fucking cosmic joke beyond. It's like ludicrous, in fact.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Well, hopefully soon, I'm sure you've gone through your 10 pills that you got back in New York.
Not
you
yet.
have like
No, not yet.
2 more days or
A
something.
couple more days.
Oh my God. Well, I'm glad I got you today.
I know. I was kicking in. All right, guys. Well, listen, I hope that maybe if you felt the shift, I'm curious. Let us know. Let us know what's happening. You also feel.
And we'll talk to you soon. In the meantime, check us out on Substack. Follow us on Instagram. We never do this, but apparently you're supposed to do this. You're supposed to like remind people everything they're supposed to do every week.
Great.
Subscribe to this podcast and set it up to automatically download. Go into an Apple store and subscribe to the podcast on every phone on display there and set it to download. That's not something you're supposed to do. I'm just throwing that creative idea in myself. And and we'll talk to you very soon.
Very soon.
We love you guys.
We love you. Bye.
Bye.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best.
Oh no.